Welcome to today's web conference, New Enterprise Value and Partner Opportunities with E5 Plan. I'd like to turn it over to your first presenter, Michael Pensaroli, National PTS for Microsoft. Michael, you now have the floor.
Well, thanks, Kim. I appreciate that, and I appreciate everyone who participated in the poll. We actually do use those responses as we think about the upcoming calls and how to tailor our content, so thank you for that, and I would also encourage you to participate in the survey at the end of the call as well. We really do use that information. It's very helpful. So good morning, everybody, and good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast. Welcome to our November Office 365 Partner Community Call. This is our agenda today, and I'll be presenting some of the content. I'm joined today by Jenny Woodbury, Product Marketing Manager for Office 365, and also Skip Chilcott. He's a Senior Product Manager for the M&O and MOD, and they're going to be helping out with the modern collaboration portion today. So we are pretty excited to have them with us. And also my colleague Amanda Hill will be kind of working behind the scenes to help answer your questions today. So if you're new to our community and this call, welcome. This is for partners interested in Office 365, and we have content here to help build your practice. It's specifically geared to those of you that are in the U.S., and here are some ways to join our community. And you'll find information on building a cloud practice, other information on the service, training, and other resources. And you can use these vanity URLs to sign up for the newsletter. We also have a Yammer group, which is a great way to be able to provide feedback or ask your questions for Microsoft and other partners. And we also have a community blog as well. Okay, in this presentation, we're going to take a look at the new enterprise value that is coming to Office 365 with the E5 plan. We introduced that at WPC, and it really highlights how Microsoft is delivering the most comprehensive, most secured cloud productivity and communications offering. For partners, it's going to give you opportunities to upsell your customers on PBX and PSTN conferencing, as well as new organizational analytics. You can build new services, businesses around voice, modern meetings, and business analytics. And you also you'll have an opportunity to convert new customers to the cloud. Maybe some of those customers that were previously hesitant to go to the cloud. We have new advanced threat protections and data access controls available that might just allow them to get that extra level of comfort. So let's go ahead and dive into each one of the components of the three pillars. Modern collaboration, so that's PSTN conferencing, cloud PBX, and PSTN calling. And then we'll take a look at personalized insight. And so that includes like Power BI, and I'll have a demo for you a little bit later, and delve organizational analytics, and then finally people-centric compliance. So first we'll start off with modern collaboration, and I'm going to turn this over first to Skip. Skip, go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Michael, and thanks, everyone. Super excited to be here. We're about 3 weeks away from launching one of the largest updates we've ever done to the service, and some really exciting stuff going on with Skype for Business. And so you may be familiar with this from some announcements in the past, but we're going to get into a little bit of detail because we want you to be as armed and ready as you can. And so starting off with the complete meeting solution, this is something we've had in the service for quite some time with Skype for Business online, but there's been a couple of components that have been missing, and we got some new innovation going on. So the biggest thing we're adding to the modern meeting solution is PSTN conferencing, and what that means is that there is now will be telephone access dial-in to the Skype for Business Online in Office 365. So something we've been wanting to add for quite some time, so people can actually dial in with a telephone number, or you can have the service dial out and pick somebody up. So super excited about that feature that's coming. We'll get into a little bit of detail on that in just a second. The second thing is Skype meeting broadcast, and this is a really, really exciting new feature for us. This will be added to the entire service package, so anybody on E1, E3, E5 will get this feature. And this allows you to take a meeting and broadcast it to up to 10,000 people at one time. So kind of like we're doing here today, but a little bit different. But basically, you can have a meeting, and the 10,000 limit is really theoretical. There's really no limit. This is the same service that was used to stream the Olympics and some other really large types of streaming video, and it's running out of the Azure service. So super excited about this, where you can actually reach thousands of people with a single meeting, and taking the existing experience using the presenter console that you're used to in Skype for Business, and then just streaming that out, and so people would watch it as a streaming video. A couple other interesting things here. We got a new feature in here that allows you to do live co-editing of a document right inside the meeting. So we take advantage of some of the Word capabilities to do co-authoring amongst multiple people. So for small meetings, you'd be able to do that, and everybody's kind of co-authoring at the same time. Very similar to what happens in OneNote today. So that's probably the biggest one. The next area is really about our the new voice services that are coming to the service. And so what this means is, and if someone can change the slide, that'd be great. Actually, maybe I got it here. Never mind. So we're adding some really exciting stuff. Enterprise voice has been traditionally an on-premise business over the past many years. And so there's about 100 million lines around the world that are deployed, many of those with enterprise voice. And customers have told us that they really want to do this as part of the cloud service. And so we're really, really pleased to announce that this is coming out here very shortly as well. So you can make a call and receive a call across any of the devices that you have, whether it's a telephone, a PC, a mobile device, whether it's iOS, Android, Windows, all of those platforms. And so, we're calling this modern voice with cloud PBX. So think of this as the cloud telephone system, so to say. It'll also interoperate with existing telephone systems on-premise, so you can have part in the cloud, and you can leverage the on-premise phone systems, and you can really create an interesting environment. So customers don't have to just switch over. They can actually move over time, and really provides this really robust feature set in the cloud. And so, the common question we get is Microsoft turning into a telephone company? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. We can issue telephone numbers, and customers can keep their existing phone numbers as well and just port them over to us if they want to take advantage of the service. So super exciting. So the two services really are Cloud PBX and PSTN calling. So the Cloud PBX takes care of the call management and provisioning, and the PSTN calling is all about the calling plans of making and receiving telephone calls, whether it be domestic or international. So why is this so important? What does this opportunity look like? So today, what we have is web conferencing and on-premise PBX. The market opportunity, and these are worldwide numbers, these are not U.S. numbers, but you can just kind of assume that, make a round statement about half of this is a U.S. opportunity. It's about a $13 billion business altogether with all the competitors. And so, big number, great opportunity, but what we have is a new opportunity with all of this, and this looks like, let's see if I can get it to come up here. So what it does is it adds an additional $22 billion of opportunity out there on top of what we have today. So this is now a $35 billion new market opportunity to go after. And so it really changes the landscape of really what we can all accomplish with all these new services. So fantastic new opportunity. That's why this is so important. Customers have been telling us this is what they want, and this is really what the new opportunity is. Okay, so looks like I'm having a connectivity problem where I am, so let's go ahead and switch over to the next slide. And if somebody can just tell me what that one is, I've got a local copy here I can use. Okay, so Are we looking at the pricing slide now?
Yep.
Awesome. So really quickly, kind of what this is going to look like is, we have E1 and E3 today. There's going to be some new functionality added to those two suites, both that some data loss protection, but there's also from Skype for Business, the meeting broadcast will be added there. But the exciting part is the new E5 suite, which will include these new services. So Cloud PBX and PSTN conferencing will come to E5. And then there's PSTN calling plans that will come on top of that. And so, it's a $35 SKU if it was purchased all together. If it's a step up from E3, then it's only $15. And so then there's domestic and international calling plans that you add on top of that if you want to make and receive telephone calls using the online service. And that's $12 and $24 based on if it's domestic or international. Okay, so moving on, so how does that really kind of compare? What do those prices look like? And so from an E5 perspective, if you were to look at all the competitors around all the E5 services, we've basically created an example here, and this is real data. We didn't make this up, but we picked the main competitors that are out there, and it's basically about $90 if you were to purchase all of these from different vendors. The exciting part is we're only going to charge $38, so if you bought them all individually, it's about $38. So it's huge savings over what customers are spending with competitive solutions. But the really exciting part is if you buy it as part of the E5 suite, it's actually only an additional $15 per user per month. And so, an incredible value for customers. So we're really excited about this, and we hope you are as well. Moving on really quickly, so, everybody asks, well, we've been on-premise for a while, so you have to just move everything to the cloud for voice services? And the answer to that is no. We have a deployment choice for customers. You can go all online and put Cloud PBX in Office 365, as well as making the PSTN calling services provided by Microsoft from the cloud. If you don't want to do that, you can certainly continue as an on-premise, Skype for Business server on premises, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Sometimes the needs and requirements demand that from our customers. So that would be all the PSTN services integrated from on-premises. We have this interesting new hybrid model, and we've talked about hybrid in many different contexts over the last few years. But really, this allows customers to have users either online or on premises, and they can take advantage of their existing telecommunications agreements with providers like AT&T, Verizon, and those kind of companies. Sometimes they have long-term contracts, and they need to continue to use those services that they've purchased in advance. So we have a model that allows customers to do that as well, where users can be in the cloud, but you actually connect to an on-premises small footprint of an on-premises server, and then it connects to the telephone lines from your own premises. So this really unique flexibility and deployment choice for customers, whether it be all online, all on-premises, or hybrid models. Okay, so let's talk really quickly about individual services. So PSTN conferencing. What are we going to have at launch and what will come shortly after. And so we're really going to start with the basic dial in, dial out. So, and this is not a toll-free service to start with. So customers would have to dial a regular telephone number to dial into the meeting or dial out and pick somebody up, but that's just a domestic service. We won't allow people to call out internationally and pick somebody up into a meeting. The costs are just too high with that. And so we will have toll-free dial-in and international dial-out coming up in the next first half of calendar year 2016, but those will be additional charges on a per-minute basis. Now, so the next part is the calling plan preview here. So we've got PSTN calling, so we've got basically a domestic service plan and an international service plan. The domestic calling plan is $12 per user per month, and these services are always an add-on to any of the suites. These are not included in E5. These are always an add-on. And so domestic plan will be $12, and the international plan is domestic plus international. So there are some limits, so we can do some cost control here. But we're basically creating an environment that will accommodate most customers without ever going over their minute allocation. So for those packages, they're going to receive 3,000 They're going to receive 3,000 minutes per month per user, but all pooled at the tenant level. So everybody gets to share those minutes. And so some people that don't make any calls at all, and other people that make lots of calls, it'll all even out. So we've looked at this data from a lot of companies, and we're pretty comfortable that very few customers will go over those limits. And then international will be 600 minutes per month. We will charge for overages on that on a per minute basis, and that'll happen again starting in the first half of next year when we have usage-based billing for those overages. All right, so the next piece is we talked about deployment choice and flexibility. There's a really new kind of a way of doing things with this hybrid model. This isn't something we've done in the past. It's a new thing. And so when you look at what a quick little topology here looks like, and I try not to get too technical on everyone here, but basically you have Office 365 for Cloud PBX, and customers have an on-premise telephone connection. We will have a very thin footprint on-premise called Skype for Business Cloud Connectivity. These are basically virtual machines that we'll make available to customers as part of the Cloud PBX service. So there's no additional charge for those, and it literally just provides connectivity to the telephone service. If they want to connect with Skype for Business servers, the full servers, to do deeper integration with existing phone systems, then that's obviously a Skype for Business server on-premise, and it's a totally different set of requirements, and those do carry costs associated with them to get the server licenses. But the cloud connectivity, there's no additional license needed there. It comes with the Cloud PBX. All right, so moving on. When is all this stuff coming out? So in December of 2015, this year, the Skype meeting broadcast will roll out worldwide. PSTN conferencing will roll out in the U.S. plus 15 other countries. And then we'll also have dial-in access from a bunch of other countries. So if you had a meeting hosted in the U.S. and somebody was in Germany, they could dial a local German access number in Germany, and it'll allow them to connect into a call that's hosted in another country. So we have a whole list of those countries that is available now in other presentations and documentation. Okay, so after that, we'll have a phased expansion in 2016 to more countries beyond those first 15. For the voice services, we're going to go worldwide with Cloud PBX at day one. PSTN calling will start in the U.S. only, and it'll be phased expansion worldwide starting in 2016. So starting sometime early 2016, you'll start to see additional countries added to that service offering. This really starts to allow customers to plan for expansion. If you're a multinational company, how are you going to look at this? We'll be able to provide that additional detail as we get closer to those countries being available. So that's really a quick look at all these services. We're really excited about all of this, and there's going to be plenty more detail coming. As you might imagine, as a telephone and telecommunications type service, there's a lot of detail under all of this. So I believe that'll be covered in next month's call in the minutiae of detail, but we also have all of this documentation, I believe, coming out on the Partner Network site, so you'll be able to access it and get lots of answers to your questions. But we hope you're as excited about it as we are, and really look forward to working with everybody out there to make this a real success. I think it really opens up a lot of opportunities for partners to build additional services and practices around this. With that, I think, Jenny, I think we'll turn it over to you at this point.
Yeah, that sounds great. And so before we move on to the next section, I'm going to do a quick pause and move back to the licensing slide. I see that there are a number of questions in the chat window that we could address now. So one moment, bear with us while we click back. So real quickly, this is the Office 365 E5 suite. And one thing I want to call out is that Office 365 E5 comes with PSTN conferencing, and PSTN calling is an add-on. Now, one of the questions that came through in the chat window was about Office 365 E4 and what's happening to that. And essentially, E4 will be phased out, and customers that are still interested in buying an on-premise version of Enterprise Voice can buy a PlusCal subscription. And so that is what will be happening with Office 365 E4 with this. And so next I want to go into the chat window. Saw some questions that were coming through, and I'm just going to fire them off, and Skip, I'll read them aloud, and if you wouldn't mind just answering some of them as we go, that would be great.
Yeah, no problem.
Excellent. So one of the questions was around PSTN conferencing. Will this be available as an add-on to Skype for Business? Subscription plan and E3. And how would customers go about adding on?
So all of the individual services that make up E5 are also available as individual add-ons to E3 if that's the way the customer wants to go. So you can, and some of them do have prerequisites, and so you have to look at each individual service. But for instance, you would not be able to add on PSTN calling unless you had the Cloud PBX service also. You can't make a call unless you have a way to control it. So there are some prerequisites out there. But any of the services available in E5 can also be purchased individually. But obviously the best value is to go all the way up to E5 and get all of these great services. If you think about it, Cloud PBX is $8 and PSTN conferencing is $4. That's a total of $12. For an extra $3 per user per month, you get the rest of all those great services coming in E5. So really tremendous value.
Awesome, thank you. So another question about hybrid Cloud PBX scenarios. So if a customer wants to purchase E5 with Cloud PBX and integrate with their on-premise system, how easy will that be? And will this involve some sort of gateway?
Yeah, so there's not a yes or no answer, or how easy or how hard will it be. There's no easy answer for that. What I can say is that there is definitely technology to deploy if you're going to integrate it with on-premises PBX systems and take advantage of Cloud PBX. There is a gateway, there's a Skype for Business server, those types of things. However, if you are not integrating with an on-premise PBX system, but you just want to take advantage of your on-premise telephone connectivity to your existing provider, that's a much simpler deployment, because you're not really doing wide server deployment and configuration. These are much smaller virtual machine images that can run on much smaller footprint of hardware as well. And depending on how customers do that, there is likely a gateway involved in all that to make sure it's secure. I will add one thing, which is, this is what customers really are thinking about, is how to do this in a hybrid way, because they're not really ready to just go to the cloud and move all their users up there and trust, a telephone service. No other company has ever really done this before, the way we're doing it, especially at the scale of which we're doing it in an enterprise way. And so it's super important to make sure that all of the same principles that have applied for years when deploying Skype for Business on premise still apply here. So network monitoring, network assessments, and problem remediation still all happen whether you're in the cloud or whether you're on premise. And then there's another exciting part of this is that if you're familiar with Azure ExpressRoute, ExpressRoute for Office 365 will also be available, so customers can actually connect their premises to our cloud with a private connection with their existing telephone carrier like AT&T, Verizon, and such. So it really creates an end-to-end, very robust network approach where they don't have to rely on the public internet for that uncertainty. They can actually go, and it's very highly recommended to go with ExpressRoute, so you have more certainty and more consistency in the experience.
Awesome, thank you. And I'm seeing some questions come through also about PSTN conferencing, so I'm going to skip forward to that. And So Skip, the questions are talking about the overage charges with PSTN conferencing. Can you talk a little bit about, if there is overage charges due to fraud or abuse, how that whole billing system will work?
Yeah, so there are actually no overage charges, so to say. What we are going to put into place is monitoring of fraudulent behavior with remediation of the behavior. So, for instance, if somebody leaves a telephone line connected for hours and hours and we detect that there's no audio on that line, we'll probably disconnect it. So there's kind of fraud and abuse parameters that we'll monitor and manage, and then we'll remediate those problems as they occur. But we're not necessarily going to charge additional dollars or overages. We're just going to control that. So we're going to go to market with a domestic service, so that's really just calls within the country. So they can call in there, and there's unlimited minutes for dial-in service, and then the dial-out domestically as well. So, when a customer dials into a conference, they're actually paying their own long-distance toll to do that, so we don't have a real high cost there. And the dial-out, we do have some cost domestically. So, we'll make sure that we look at that, and if we detect fraudulent behavior and patterns, we do have there'll be policies in place to remediate those problems.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, Skip, I know you have to run to catch a flight, and I think I can man the rest of these questions as well. So thank you so much for presenting today. We really appreciate you lending your expertise. And from here, I'll answer a few more questions, and then we can move on to talk a little bit about the partner opportunity with Cloud PBX.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, everyone, and look forward to making this a really fantastic service. Again, we're only about, this comes out in December, so we should all get really excited about it. Thanks.
Thanks, Skip.
Awesome. So before I move on, there was a couple of questions about E5, PSTN calling and conferencing and Cloud PBX and what are all of these things. And so we'll quickly break it down for you. So Cloud PBX, that is your call control from the cloud. So it's the service that enables you to control where your calls go. That's one component of that. To actually connect to the public switched telephone network, you need a calling plan. And so customers have many options. They can choose to either have their call control in the cloud and route down on-premise and connect in with one of their existing providers, or they can choose to purchase Microsoft service and connect their calls in the cloud. And so that's the difference between those. And then PSTN conferencing is the ability to have to dial in and dial out conferencing capability within a meeting. And so for that, we'll move on, and we'll cover some more questions in the chat window as we move on through the presentation. I'm going to quickly walk through the partner opportunity for Skype for Business and Cloud PBX. So thanks for bearing with us as we switch through some of these slides. So with Skype for Business, there's an opportunity for all of our partners, systems integrators, resellers, what have you. I'm going to walk through kind of the life cycle of a customer and talk through a few opportunities in each one of these pillars. So first, starting with reselling and renew. So there's the apparent opportunity of reselling the licensing, but then there's also opportunities to get involved with helping customers construct great meeting solutions, reselling meeting room solutions, such as with partners such as Polycom or Smart, or reselling Surface Hub. In addition, reselling network infrastructure or devices or headsets for your customers. The plan and deploy phase is really important, especially as we move to this cloud model. When you're moving a mission-critical workload like voice to the cloud, real-time communications, the customer's network becomes that much more important. And it's really critical that we encourage our partners, we really encourage customers, to invest in their networks before they deploy a cloud voice solution. And so, as Skip was talking a little bit about different deployment models, cloud or hybrid, in addition to that first step of running that network assessment, for customers, there's an opportunity for partners to help their customers define their communication strategy and architect this. Moving to the cloud right away for them might not be the best step, but it might be for a small portion of their organization or their whole organization. And there's there's no one answer and no one right solution for the customers, and we really are, Microsoft is depending on our partners, and customers are depending on you as well to help them walk through those scenarios. And so I think there's real opportunity for partners as they're looking with their customers to design that hybrid strategy with their customers and deploy it. Next, moving on to the run and adopt phase. Once you get Office 365 Cloud PBX up and running, the first thing you can do is to really help customers achieve that immediate return on investment and reduce their meetings costs. As Skip was talking about before, the competitive cost to PSTN conferencing as compared to some of the other solutions in market is really compelling. And so the goal is help customers adopt Office 365 with meetings and get that up and running. The customer can see that immediate return on investment and then move on to more complex workloads such as Cloud PBX Voice, and that hopefully will open up more opportunities for future projects. And then finally moving on to Enhance. With the enhanced portion, managed services is really a great opportunity as well in terms of, different line of business integration and potential opportunities to provide applications on top of Skype for Business. And so with that, I'll move on and close out this section, and then we'll turn it over to Michael again. So what's next for you? So first, we want you to live the dream. Deploy Skype for Business internally if you haven't already, and also check out some of the new services that are coming out. You can go to skypepreview.com and do a technical preview of Cloud PBX and some of the cloud conferencing and calling services coming out prior to that December 1st launch. Second, learn. There is a lot of complexity that comes with launching a cloud voice service, and tons of great information to learn, and we have lots of training coming up to support you with that. And so we encourage you to check out training opportunities and stay up to date on the Yammer group, and we will be posting lots of training opportunities to come up. But this is very important to educate yourself on the new services coming. Next, sell on cost savings. As I mentioned before, there's great value in PSTN conferencing and Skype meeting broadcast, which comes with Office 365, all of the eSuite SKUs. And so with this, sell on the value of that. That's a great way to get your customer to start that conversation and move on to other workloads. And then finally, hybrid. Work with your customers to build that communication strategy to open up further opportunities for systems integrations projects. So before I turn it over to Michael again, I want to cover off on one really quick opportunity that's coming up, and this is Skype for Business Online Academy. This is a technical training on the Skype for Business online services, such as Cloud PBX and PSTN conferencing and voice, and it is a 2-day workshop that is free of charge for Microsoft partners to participate in. Really excited about the content in this. This is a wonderful opportunity. We've already had a lot of interest, but there's plenty of capacity within the training, and so we really encourage you to sign up for this. This is a very deep technical training that will prepare you to have those conversations with your customers. And so with that, I am going to turn it back over to Michael.
Well, thanks so much, Jenny. That was really terrific and very timely information from you and also from Skip. We really appreciate it, and there seems to be quite a bit of interest, and there's really so much to learn. So what we're going to do for next month, as we come upon the launch, given the level of interest, we're going to take a look at the other content that's kind of being presented around that time period, and we'll see, and maybe you can kind of put this in your survey comments if this was good, but maybe you'd like to perhaps have a full hour of Jenny and Skip and just kind of really get into some technical conversations, and we can have a full hour of that if that seems like something that would be of interest. So post some feedback, tell us what you think. If you think we need to do more, we can do that. And so appreciate that. But just continuing on with the E5, we're going to continue on with personalized insights. And first, we're going to take a look at Delve Org Analytics. And so Delve Org Analytics, what it does, it allows a team leader to discover how their organization actually works. And what it is, it's a rich interactive dashboard that provides insights into key trends such as reach, influence, and work-life balance. and also an individual's team engagements with either internal or external teams. And so you can take a look at that dashboard and see if those interactions are in line with your priorities, or maybe where engagement should be taking place or not. And this is a screenshot, and if you haven't seen this at WPC or at the Ignite conference, I really want to plug our last month's call, and I'm not going to do a demo of this today because Andrew Cook did a great job last month. So those of you who are on the call, you've seen it last month, and if you haven't, I really encourage you to check it out because it really highlights the power of the Office graph, and this demo has really, there's some really new, interesting things in there. It's amazing, right? So I mean, as personally, I can see that if I send an email message out to my team, I know that actually the best time of day to send that out where it has the best chance of actually being read. And so it's amazing because the Office graph knows so much, and so why not take advantage of that to really make you more productive? So plug for last month's call, and now moving on to kind of the Power BI portion. So when you consider what's being termed the data dividend that's associated with Power BI. It's a worldwide opportunity of $1.6 trillion. You realize that it's a huge opportunity. It's really hard to overstate. And so this research is from IDC, and what it shows is for those companies that invested in the technologies, the data, the people, and the practices, there's a potential for a 60% improvement on the return on those data assets. And software is increasingly inside of everything, so data is coming from everywhere in this world of the Internet of Things, and organizations that are able to harness that data, make sense of that data, better understand their customers and their markets, and how those customers are using their products are going to be in a better position to deliver that value back to their customers. So Power BI is really at the front end of a very large, very rich interconnected platform that allows customers to be able to take advantage of this opportunity, and they're looking for help. So first, before we go any further and show you a demo, I thought it would be good just to take a step back and what is Power BI? And regardless of where that data lives or where it comes from, it all comes back to this equation. So there's an event that happens, and that event represents or emits some data that needs to be stored that gets turned into some type of intelligence that gets delivered to a human being who hopefully gains some kind of insight that allows them to make a choice or a decision or to change something and take action that moves the needle for their business. So going from that raw data to I move the needle for my business follows this 6-step process. And Power BI focuses right on the middle part of the equation, taking that intelligence and getting it to the hands of somebody who can draw an insight and take action as the critical step. Because you can have all this data and a sophisticated analytical platform, but if you can't get into the hands of somebody so they can get value out of it, you really don't have anything at all. And so that's what Power BI is. It's an intelligence delivery vehicle to human beings so that they can make better choices. Power BI is a SaaS solution. It's a business analytics service. And one of the engineering mantras was 5 seconds to sign up and 5 minutes to wow. And the goal was to be able to connect non-technical business people to their data very quickly. Power BI is a single pane of glass, a sort of a cockpit to which all that data comes together and gets converted into value. So why don't we go ahead and just show you what that looks like. And I'm going to switch over and show you my screen here. And while that's coming up, somebody can give me some feedback and let me know when that comes in. But we're taking a look at a dashboard. And we're going to focus on two major concepts, dashboarding and reports. A dashboard is a place where you can collect data that's relevant to you, that's coming or represented from many different sources. In this case, we're taking a look at the connected car demo. So it's actually coming from cars that are out there. I'm playing the role of somebody working at Catoso Motors, and I run a dealership here in the Puget Sound area. And you might think that's pretty far out there, but as it turns out, the connected car market is growing, and that 75% of the cars shipped globally by 2020 will be built with the necessary hardware to be able to connect to the internet. So this is not smoke. This is actually running in real time, and they're not coming from connected cars, but they're actually, if you can see the command window on the screen here, it's data being generated from my laptop, being transmitted up into Azure through web services to an event hub and stream analytics. And if you look closely, you see that one of the characteristics of this data is in real time. If you take a look at maybe the speed or the engine temperature or the vehicles requiring maintenance, you'll see that it's actually moving. That's because this is a live feed. So that sets Power BI apart, in that you're looking at data that's up to the moment so that you can get an instant sense of the health of what your current state of your business or your customer engagement or whatever it is that you care about in your role. Now, behind each one of these tiles, and represented here in the left-hand navigation, is a second major artifact, which is a report. So reports are a deeper analytical sort of slicing and dicing, cross-filtering capability where you can ask deeper questions, where you can drill in and see the impact of a particular class of data. So here's an interesting one. I can go ahead and click in on vehicles requiring maintenance, and I'm in the Redmond location. So maybe if I click into Redmond, you see these reports are interactive, and I get all of the VIN numbers that are requiring maintenance. And also you can see along the bottom, I also can see which actual models are coming in as well. And so maybe with this information now, maybe I take some action. Maybe I create a marketing campaign for all those customers that are requiring maintenance, or maybe I get proactive in my ordering for the service centers where those cars are coming in to make sure I have the right parts on hand. Another thing I wanted to point out is this Get Data here on the bottom left of the screen. So if I click on Get Data, I can connect to multiple different data sources, and one of them is to be able to click into back-end cloud services. So here when I click on that, Power BI has the notion of a content pack. And so this is very different than the idea of, say, a connector, because what I can do is I can click on one of these content packs, and that packages up all of the dashboards and reports. Say you are using Acumatica or Google Analytics or Salesforce. I can click on any one of these SaaS services. I can log in, and because the data is already pre-modeled for me, I'm going to instantly, or within minutes, what maybe have taken weeks in the past, be able to take a look at that data and get value out of it. Another thing that's interesting too is that if you look down here on the left-hand side is Find a Partner. So I love this. This is right within the service. I can click Find a Partner, and I get a map of the United States, and I understand there's probably going to be a little bit of a delay, but I go get a map, and then I can click in. Let me try that again. Here it comes. And I can click on the United States and drill in and instantly see a list of partners, so that when I need help, I can come in here and any of the partners that are currently offering help show right up in the service. If you're not seeing yourself on this list and you would like to be, there's actually a red carpet program, and the information to learn how to be a partner is actually right in the service as well. You can go ahead and click on this Learn More button. So let me go back to my slides. So we've had a phenomenal amount of awareness and traction, and this preview has been tried by 45,000 organizations, 500,000 unique users in 185 countries, and those represent all the preview numbers. And you can pull from a multitude of data sources. You can pull from your on-premises data. You can connect to cloud SaaS services, third-party cloud like we just talked about. And you can also connect to, of course, Azure Data Services, to Dynamics. And there's a content pack coming from Office 365, which we announced recently in the roadmap. And so you can do all this through the wealth of the integrated platform. So think about stream analytics, think about machine learning, think about predictive analytics, or just processing that data. It all comes through and surfaces through our visualization layer. And Power BI is just part of the equation. It's part of a bigger solution. Think about data warehouse. Think about the Internet of Things. Think about big data connected through Spark. So when you take all of those interested people on the right and you connect them with a portion of that data, you're building an audience of people that are hungry for additional data. It's just a taster, and once you deliver that initial value, they want to be able to connect that data and mash it up with their on-premises data or maybe industry data, and that's where the partner opportunity comes in. So I wanted to talk about 3 opportunities with Power BI that partners can take advantage of. One is for SIs, the other is for ISVs, and the middle one is really kind of relevant for both. So first, let's take a look at the systems integrator opportunity, and that's deploying high-value projects. So these projects are projects that take your customer's data and turn it into value. So Power BI is really kind of a source for other opportunities. It's on its own. It's a lead generation tool. If you take a look at the need for back-end cloud data services, you take a look at the needs for on-premise data technologies, and you look at all the analytics products and services we provide, Power BI is really a foot in the door, but it's the body of work that follows that is the real opportunity. And we've had a wide range of success here, and I put a few of the case studies on the screen for you so you can download these slides, and I encourage you to check those out. But the point that I want to make is not the specific business problems that were addressed, but in the fact that in each one of these projects, Power BI was just one piece of a much larger engagement. And so the power of Power BI is not only that it connects lots of people with their data, but it pulls through pretty much everything else that we have as an organization to bear against the customer's data to solve their business problems. Next, let's take a look at opportunities for ISVs. That's those of you who are in the business of building software and selling service. And that's the notion of the content pack that I introduced during the demo. So this is a mechanism for you to package up those dashboards and reports, but connect it to your particular source of data, to your software system and your service, and then package it up and make that available in that gallery when the users come on and click to say, go get that data. So I talked about some of the examples there, and I talked about how Office 365 is coming as well, and so users are going to be getting into the habit of actually coming and consuming these content packs. So you have the opportunity to deliver that value to companies without requiring them to be experts in analytics. So we're releasing one of these content packs pretty much every week, and there are dozens of them in the pipeline. And the third opportunity is customize and integrate. So what we've done is that we've actually open sourced the entirety of the visualization stack in Power BI. It's actually out there for you on GitHub. And so at its core, it's using D3, which is a JavaScript library for manipulating documents based on data. And so if you have access to developers that know how to leverage JavaScript, you can customize the Power BI visuals, the base charts. This completely, paves the way to custom visuals in Power BI. So there are a ton of resources. I talked about that red carpet program, which connects users with partners, and the user will be able to discover you right from within that service. So when they click that connect with the partners, and there are funds to invest to build well-trained and productive partners. So we encourage you to check out this resource if you like this opportunity and are interested in learning more. And then finally, people-centric compliance. So, as we add to that new enterprise value that's part of E5 is the people-centric compliance offering. And in order to maximize the data security and privacy for Office 365 customers, we have engineered the service to require nearly zero interaction with customer data by Microsoft employees. They have zero standing access. But in some of those cases where they do need to access data, what we've done is we have this technology called Customer Lockbox. And what this does is that this gives customers explicit control over their own data. It puts them right in the center of that process to give them that extra added level of comfort and security to know that they're in control of their own data. Another significant investment we announced was secure attachments and URLs. So this concerns your email. Now, we already have 3 different antivirus systems that kind of go, but what this does is that this protects users against unknown and sophisticated threats. So this is using advanced threat protection. So if they have end user emails with attachments and URLs, it provides that time of click protection, and we use things like sandboxes and detonation chambers and these protective shells for that time and click protection. So finally, predictive e-discovery. So this is analytics for e-discovery that leverages machine learning and also advanced text processing, which improves our existing e-discovery offering by significantly reducing the document review cost. So this is made possible using the core technology, which is from our Equivio acquisition. So we all know that when lawyers get involved in these legal cases, the more you can reduce those result sets and the documents that have to actually be analyzed, that significantly reduces the cost. And so the good news is that Equivio had already achieved broad acceptance in the legal community, and so this edition is being very well received. And finally, just to end things, Jenny's just going to finish off with some of the partner opportunity and go-dos. And Jenny, I'll let you close things out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So again, with partners, opportunity to upsell your customers to the cloud and sell in some of our new premium services, and also unlock new cloud opportunities for customers that were previously cloud blocked before because of security or compliance needs. And finally, the opportunity to build new practices with cloud PBX or analytics. And so we encourage partners to really sell on the value of Office 365 and take advantage of these new scenarios that are coming out as part of the E5 suite. But in addition, we also encourage you, if you do have an Office 365 practice but you don't have a voice practice, or you have a voice practice and not Office 365, or you're a O365 partner and you don't have a Power BI practice, take the opportunity to leverage other specialized partners in your area on opportunities and bring them in. We think this is the best model to take advantage of the full opportunity. And then next, get ready. Check out Drumbeat website to learn more about the new SKUs that are available and also our cloud roadshows. And at the end of this deck, you'll notice we put a lot of content out there for you. This is a full list of all of the content and training that is available right now, and we've put special highlights near the ones that are very important. Really highly encourage you check out the Enterprise E5 licensing presentation and licensing FAQ. That'll answer a lot of the questions that I saw coming through the chat window today. And also, if you would advance to the next slide. I also want to talk about some training opportunities that are coming up. We will have some sales readiness on demand available that will be posted in early December that will be available for you. And in addition, we have a licensing webcast that will be coming up on December 1st at 10 a.m. where we'll do a real deep dive of licensing, and we encourage you to check that out. And then finally, we have some technical trainings available for partners as well, coming up in the next few months. Please stay active on the MSUS Yammer group and the Office 365 Yammer group, excuse me. We'll be posting more opportunities as they come up, and we do have some more that are coming up in December that we encourage you to check out. So thank you.
All right, thanks, Jenny. And with that, we're going to close out the call, and I'm assuming that Kim had put out the survey link. I do see a couple of questions still coming into the chat window. I have time to stay and answer some calls. One quick one that I saw when I took a glance, people are wondering if there's sample data to be able to connect to. on the Power BI side, absolutely. Just go ahead and sign up yourself. It's really simple, right? I mean, that's what the point was, just being able to sign up in 5 seconds, in 5 minutes be able to see something, and all you need is that email address. So powerbi.com, one of the links there is on sample data, and so there's some sample data that you can go ahead and click on so that you can actually play around and try out some of the stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and turn things back over to Kim. I really appreciate everyone's time today, and I will stay on the call. And I don't know if Jenny has a couple of minutes to stay on. She's giving me a thumbs up. So we'll stay and answer some questions on the Q&A. Thanks so much. Kim?
Thank you, Michael. Ladies and gentlemen, your feedback is important. We hope that you found today's information helpful. Please take a few minutes to let us know by completing a short survey. Please click on the messages button to find the link to the survey. And you can access the web conference recording via a link that will be delivered within 72 hours post-conference. And I'd like to extend a big thank you to our presenters. This concludes today's web conference. You may now disconnect.